we have a lot to go through. We're going to go fast or slow depending on how you guys ask questions or what you're interested in. If we go too fast and you want to, and you're like, wait, let's talk about that more. Or if you're like, I have the slightest clue what you're talking about and I'm not ready for that yet, and that's totally fine too. Because it almost sounds like the three of you are in slightly different spots in your progression with social media. So this will be interesting to see what you take from these pieces.
Well, like I said, I'm just here generally to listen because
Yep.
I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a little bit about some things. And whatever. So
It's like anything else. It's a learning process, and you build on it. And I think that's kind of what you two were just talking about too. So, okay, so we ready to roll?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, so welcome. I'm Dan Haynes. I'm one of the owners of Golden Horseshoe Equestrian, and I'm here with Sarah Mitchell.
Hi, I'm the marketing supervisor. I deal with all the social media and then all the fun marketing stuff that goes through Golden Horseshoe. So
yeah, if it's marketing, Sarah's touched it, or her assistant John has touched it. So yeah, so if there's anything you want to know about that, she's your person. So I come at social media I cut my teeth on social media in the real estate world, and so I did the marketing for our real estate team for about 15 years. And what was interesting to me is when Facebook started to become a thing, I said, this is going to be the biggest change that's happened to the real estate world in 30 years. And it turned out to be very, very, very true. And I think it's happening to the equestrian world in ways. This is going to sound a little silly, but there's a lot of social media goes on in the equestrian world. I don't think it's matured yet and how it works. And I think what we're doing is going to mature, at least in this area, how social media works. And I think you'll see hopefully some interesting information tonight. So, but that's my background, is about 10, 15 years in social media, and then bringing it over to this piece of it and email marketing stuff. And then Sarah can talk about hers.
I graduated with a bachelor's in graphic design and mixed media arts. I took a marketing class my senior year of high school, and I really enjoyed it. And I kind of just continued on. I don't consider myself an artist. I prefer to do web-based, computer-based art, if you will. Real world art and I have had a difficult relationship. But I've been doing this since like 2012, 2013, so that's too long. But I've done marketing, social media, website design, from starting from scratch to editing and changing fleshed out stuff that already exists. So.
Cool. And then poor Elizabeth is changing our slides because I didn't bring a clicker. So yeah, you can switch over if you want. So this is the gist of what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about like who you are and what brand is and what brand voice and identity is, and these are kind of in the order that I think you should probably approach social media. Knowing who you're talking to. Have you guys ever heard of the word avatars besides the movie? We'll talk about that and what avatars are and how to identify yours. What your strategy is going to be, how to select the right platform. Somebody can't spell, that would be me, sorry. The what, how, and when to post, how to look at metrics to know if you're doing the right things or not, back to what you were talking about, right? How to get leverage, and then Q&A, but although with the size of this group, we're just going to do Q&A throughout, so jump in at any point. Yeah, for sure. And I'm already getting this. I don't like to be in the middle. Anyway, so that's the general piece of what we're covering. And I think it's going to cover most of what you guys have talked about. Yeah, so that's it. So we can switch over and we'll get rocking and rolling. So Golden Horseshoe, some of you may or may not know, so this is the 43rd year with Golden Horseshoe. We've had the store for 2.5 years. We serve Western and English disciplines. And we are currently blending the tradition of Golden Horseshoe with innovation. We are leaning heavily into technology. In most of it's been back-end stuff. We spend a lot of time and money in back-end systems. And this year, you're starting to see some more front-of-house things. Like we started to introduce video screens into our store with a couple of them. You'll see those rolling out in the coming months as there's video screens throughout the store, introducing products and education events and that sort of stuff. And we started just the very basic work of interactive kiosks in the store so that you can go and say, I want to know about this, and it will pull up information and show you. And so you've used that kind of stuff if you've gone to medical facilities or probably the library or whatever, and you can go and touch and ask questions. We want to be there for you in person, but we're trying to bring that technology when we can't be. So you're going to see a lot of virtual reality is another piece we've leaned into a little. We're going to go deeper into, but we're heavy tech, and you'll start seeing it on the outside as we go forward. So, and then that's who we are. Why you would listen to us? To me, lived experience, right? We told you about our experience. So for Golden Horseshoe, when we purchased the store, there was no website. I understand that there was at one point in time, but I don't know. Yeah. There was at least 2 Facebook pages. One was lost control of long ago, and one lost control and they would not release it to us. And so we literally started from zero. We had to build the website, we had to build the Facebook page and the Instagram and all the things, right? Yeah, absolutely.
What website platform, or is it WordPress that you guys use?
So we actually use Shopify for ours. We're kind of at the point where our site is a lot for Shopify to kind of handle, but we use Shopify for our website and shopping. Yeah.
It's because our POS integrates with it directly, and so it makes it a smoother process for us, front and back end. But yeah, I would say for your purposes, whatever's the easiest to operate, unless you're going to have somebody do the work for you, yeah, go with it. There's so many options out there that are affordable, I think, these days.
WordPress now, but it's pretty basic. So
sure.
And I've heard about Shopify. So anyway.
And I think a lot of times you can put a lot of fancy things in websites that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, Shopify is really useful if you have a point of sale or a register, or like a business as well as an online store. WordPress, in my opinion, is a little more useful if you just have an online presence and you don't have like a physical store or anything like that. So, yeah.
That's a good point. So having brick and mortar and e-commerce are a little bit of different solution. So that's it. We built from zero. We're running retail brick and mortar. We're running e-commerce, and we're running education. This is a hybrid that we're building, right? And so we have a lot of pieces going on at any given time. And it is really important for us to continue community credibility, right? 40 years for a brand to be in existence, and multiple generations having shopped at Golden Horseshoe, we're cognizant of how important that is. And brand loyalty is important in the equestrian world, right? Like, if somebody does something wrong, everybody hears about it, right? Like, we all know how that goes. And then our practical knowledge. So we have been 2 years building from zero all of our social media and our website, and we can show you stats on what that looks like if you want to. So that's why I think we probably want to listen to us. So I don't know if you want to hit that next one, you may finish this up.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the metrics. So again, we've grown from zero to our online presence to our strength is across Facebook, Instagram, and our website. We put 2,367 Facebook followers in under 2 years. That may not seem like a lot, but it is a fair amount, and it's not our primary metric. Our primary metric is engagement, and our engagement rate is 10.5%. Industry standard for engagement rate, and we can talk about what engagement rate means. A poor engagement rate is about 1%, a decent is about 3%, and a good, strong engagement rate is about 5 to 6%. And we consistently run almost double that.
When you say engagement, you see people that correspond on your website?
People that interact with our content, like it, share it, comment on it, that sort of thing. This is a percentage, and I'm going to mess this up, but it's roughly, tell me if should I not handle this? Should you handle this? Okay. You're gonna see how big a hole it is. Great. It's a percentage based off the number of followers you have, which what that number tells me, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that means we're having so much engagement by non-followers that it's making our percentage higher than it would be, if that makes any sense. Because we have engagement by so many other people outside that 2,367 people. Because I go and I look when somebody, and I'm like, do they follow our page? No. And so,
Are you going to tell us later, are we going to learn how to do, actually measure the engagement rate?
We'll talk about metrics, and we'll talk about how to get some tools to find those metrics. Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to go into super detail, but we're going to talk about some platforms. We'll show you how we look at our metrics, the systems that we use for it. And a lot of that stuff you're going to be able to get on the platforms that you're using.
Yeah, a lot of times if you're using just a single platform or even two, you can see, depending on what kind of profile you have, you can see different metrics based on who's visiting your page, how many people are subscribed versus how many people are not visiting your page, so on and so forth. So.
Yep. So that's driven 62,000 visitors to our website and almost 250,000 web page views on our website. And our website has only been up a year and a half.
Yeah.
So we have a ton of traffic. And this is probably, as business owners, this is important. It's effectively extended our sales year by 8.3%. So it's basically, if we took 365 days and said add 8% more days onto it, that's how much it's increased our sales by doing this. That is the direct impact, almost 10% growth just by doing that. Does that help make it clear as to why you should do it?
Yeah.
Businesses that are not using social media are making a massive, massive mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, people go there for, like, besides a Google search, like, they use social media to look things up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the way that Google runs their search algorithm, so much of it now is by paid ads. Even your first, so you have your like ads, and even your first 2 or 3 searches are actually ads. So
I've noticed that lately.
you have to get down to almost halfway through the page before you start seeing actually stuff you're actually searching for, instead of what people pay to show up first. So.
I think that's going to be their Achilles.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's going to be their Achilles heel that's going to let AI undo Google. I think AI is going to eat them from a search perspective. We'll talk about AI.
Find actual things through AI versus the paid stuff.
Yeah, I was on vacation last week. I did not use Google search. I used ChatGPT to search for everything. It was the first time I've ever done that. I'm like, this is so much better. Why am I even doing it in Google anymore? Yeah. We already talked about the first one, or about why you're here. The big thing to us is you don't need to go viral. You just have to connect. Your job is to connect with people on social media. That's it. Everything else will handle itself. I'm going to let you cover these because I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. Yeah, so honestly, when it comes to social media, your most important things are what Dan said, but also consistency. So you want to be consistent with how often you're posting and things like that. It depends on you as a person. At the end of the day, you have to keep something that you yourself can keep up with, because you can always say, I'm going to do like a post every day. And if that's not a realistic goal, then it'll work for maybe a week, 2 weeks. And then like a month later, you're kind of like drowning because like, well, I didn't do the last 2 or something. But so you kind of need to set a realistic goal. And then honestly, look at what your competitors are doing and see if you can either do it better or at least like match them. Because then you're at least playing on an even playing field. So it really, and it also kind of depends on what field you're in. Certain fields are more online than others. The horse world is kind of notorious for being a little behind on technology. So, but there are other stuff like IT and things like that. They've been online for the last 30 years and they'll be ahead of the game forever. So it really just depends on what field you're also kind of looking more into. So.
But just backing up there,
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing my horse golfing business since 2017, and I've had a Facebook page for it for a long time. But it's like, it would be one of those things, I gotta do this, right? I'm like, so I have to do this every day, or, whatever. And then I would do it, and then I'd be like, this is unsustainable. And then I would take a hiatus and not posting for months.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last year, I'm like, I'm just gonna post, like, is it once a week, is it twice a week? I'm just something consistent. Now that I've been consistently at a small rate, but still consistent, my following has increased over time.
Yeah, and the algorithms on the social media, they actually prefer consistency. Like it's been proven, like the algorithm prefers if you post once a week for an entire year, it like boosts your account more than if you post like every day for 2 weeks and then like a month later you post once and then like 3 months later you post for a week solid. Like it prefers the consistency.
100%. Yeah, and it's easier.
Huh?
Always at the same time?
No, it really depends on what platform you're on, because every platform has kind of a different audience that uses it. If you're using Facebook, it's going to have a different like time frame that we would probably recommend to post versus Instagram versus if you're doing TikTok or some other social media platform. So
we'll show you how we look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Our approach is a little different than that in that we post so frequently that doesn't matter as much. When you're posting less, that is more critical. I wouldn't get hung up in that too bad though. I really wouldn't. Build your consistency first.
It's just like, it's schedule for the next day and get it out, like whatever it is to get it out. That's
One of my wife's favorite conversations as a real estate coach was done beats perfect every time. Because the people that try to make it perfect never get it done. It just, you get done, just get it done. So
yeah, like if you can schedule a post for every Thursday, like awesome. Maybe Thursday's not the most best for engagement, but at least you have it done every Thursday.
Yep. And it's done. So one of the things that I think we tend to have trouble with social media is knowing what we're doing. Like, what are the things that we should do? What are the things that we should post? What are the things we shouldn't get engaged with? And we don't always know what that compass is to keep you on track. So for us, brand identity is really, really critical. And I think it's really important that everybody should, if you're a business owner, you should sit down and you should think about, what is my brand? What is my brand about? The funny thing is, you don't determine your brand, the customers determine your brand because they interpret what you say, but you can design your brand to be certain things. To understand what your vision, your mission and values are is really important. And that sounds corporate, or it sounds maybe a little foo-foo or whatever, but it really is what helps you anchor your decisions, right? These combined with your core values are what, those are the things that make your decisions, right? Sometimes we've had to make posts that are maybe a little more difficult that we would rather have not made, but our core values have said, you have to do this, or you don't have to do this. So you'll switch over, I'll show you just very briefly ours. So our vision for the store is to permanently change equestrian retail. What happened to that logo? Man, who put this together? Misspellings and logos gone. And our mission is to support every rider's journey, enhancing the lives of horses and inspiring all who share the joy of equestrian pursuits. Our values: community, education, enjoyment, integrity, excellence, were chosen by our staff. What do you guys think our values are? What are your values? What should they be? And that's how we chose that. And when we make decisions, before I make a vision decision about the company, I look at these and I say, does that align with our core values? Because if it doesn't, we don't do it. Or we do it, depending on what the situation is, right? If it's something that we should do because it aligns, then that's what we'll do. Because that is what helps keep you from going off track. Like, maybe you'll start doing some other posts and you're like, it's not me, right? You ever be in that position, you're just not me? That's not your brand identity, don't do it. So, does that make sense? Okay. Brand identity and voice, part of that is some things like, what are your fonts, right? What are the colors that you use? What does your logo look like? We talked about consistency. That's the word that keeps coming up. We have a brand guide, which somebody did not print and bring with them today, that I would show you, that Sarah's last assistant and I worked very heavily on, and it outlines all of our fonts, all of our colors, a theme, and a tone of voice for our company on all those various pieces, because I knew we'd need to build over that on a long term, right? Like, all the decisions we make come from that. So you don't have to go this far, but if you do, I think, especially, Hannah, I see you doing this type of business for a long, long time. This is probably a really good exercise for you. And I'm assuming you're going to stay in the training and like, this vertical is where you're probably going to stay, right? It's probably what you want to think about doing too.
Well, and brand guides are also really useful if you ever hire or contract someone out for something for your business, because then you can say, this is my business, and like what it looks like, or how I envision my business, like my colors I want to use, what my logo looks like, what I do and do not want done with my content. It's kind of like your guidelines if you ever hire someone, so that way they have a better idea, instead of having to like email you at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, is it okay if I put the logo in like all white, but instead of just colors? So.
Yeah, and the answer is no. Very protective of brand. Very, very protective of brand, because you can't fix it once it's broken. Well, you can, but it takes a long time. Customer avatars. Have you guys ever heard of avatars with regard to customers? No? Do you want to talk about what avatars are?
I think you do a better job.
Oh, do I? Okay. The short version is, who are you talking to, right? So an avatar is, what is with the logos? Okay. A customer avatar is, and as Sarah put in here, why it's not everyone with a horse. Who are your people? So, Hannah, give me an idea. Like, who's your typical customer? Describe this demographic to me in as great a detail as you can.
In what?
In as great a detail as you can.
Adult Annies that go around the local A show circuit.
Okay.
and kids, competitive kids, or kids aspiring to be competitive.
So you have 2 avatars that you're focused on primarily.
I'm working on a third.
Okay.
I have people, I've got 10-year-olds and I've got 70-plus-year-olds. So I've got, competitive kids aspiring to be competitive, the adult Emmys, and then seniors who want to either get back into the saddle, stay in the saddle, or get rid of something that they are experiencing in the saddle so they can have that longevity.
Are you consciously working on a third avatar, or is it just presented itself?
It kind of just came, and
Okay.
then I've been trying to market more towards, because I knew kids and adult Emmys. I knew right off the gate that was going to be a big thing. But I've gotten a few senior writers in, and they've been having a great time. So I've been having a great time with them too. So I've started sliding more into that avenue as well. But that's an avenue where I don't know much in terms of marketing about, because I am an adult Emmy and I was an aspiring competitive kid.
Right.
So it's like I kind of know what those two groups are.
So then you almost have to make the decision, do I really focus on this other avatar or not? Do I let it come and not turn it down, or do I focus on my key customer segments, right? Because you could spend a lot of time and energy and not go anywhere. I'm not saying don't do it, because I don't know. That's your business. I'm just saying know what your avatars are. For our company, we've identified 6. There's 5 primaries. It's complicated because we have English and Western. Like, that really makes this entire situation. Had I had it to do over again, we would not pick both. It would be one or the other, right? Because it's really complex. Right? As Elizabeth's like, yeah, tell me about it. It is really complex to do, but it's important to understand those pieces, because you may spin your wheels on some people that are not even really your people. And why are you spending money and time and energy on there? Because you're not going to get any younger. I'm not. Common equestrian avatars would be show moms, DIY barn managers, or Western weekenders is what we call it. It's not really that. It's more like trail riders, more casual riders. Those are probably our 3 most common, most prominent avatars in our company. All the way down to the less prominent, which would be like professional barn owners or high-end trainers, are less our customer currently. And so we don't focus on those people at the level we focus on these people, because these are the people who are our people right now, right? So if we're going to go into another customer avatar, we need to know we're going to put time and resources and energy, and we're going to spin our wheels a long time on it. Why would we not go where that's our customer base? So those avatars help us determine. So I know if it's show moms, we probably got a pretty good idea how old they are. We got a pretty good idea they obviously have kids, what age they're going to be. They're probably going to be English riders. They might be barrel racers, but they're probably not. We're probably going to know what they want, right? They're going to need paddock boots, and they're going to need breeches, and there's going to be certain dollar ranges they want to spend. All those decisions help us understand the products that we need to carry and how to talk to those people. Does that make sense why avatars are important? And then if you decide to start running ads, that's how you start picking who those audiences are. So clarify what you want, or in Hannah's case, who you're already serving, not just what they want, not just what they need, right? So they're gonna need certain things. Like these show moms that come in with their kids, they need certain things. They may also want certain things, or there may be certain things they don't know they want. Like there may be a piece of safety equipment they don't know about yet, but because they fit that demographic, we probably need to suggest that to them. So it's our job to understand that avatar as a whole and figure out how to help them with what they might want or need, or maybe not even know yet.
It kind of gives more of a person identity to like your traditional target market. Because like at this point, most people have heard of target market. It's like, okay, my target market is 35-year-old moms with like kids that are into riding. So this kind of gives you more of a personal identity of someone instead of like just an age or a gender.
And I recommend you get as absolutely detailed as possible. Where do they live? How much money do they probably make in their family? How big is their family maybe? How many horses do they have? Do they board on site? Do they not? Like, it depends on your business, right? What you want to do. As much detail as possible, because you're going to know how to create content for those people if you understand them better. Does that make a little more sense? I don't know that I'm drawing the right direction here, but if
It's like you were talking about earlier, the page engagement, if you're not creating content for your audience that you want, what's the point? But even if you have 1 million followers, but they're not actually bringing you not the customer, but like the business you need, what's the point of having 1 million followers?
they're not really your people.
Exactly.
Yeah. How many people are in the U.S.? 340 something million people in the U.S.
Something like that.
How many of them do you need for customers? You don't need all of them, right? So you just need to know who your customers are and serve those customers. That's really what it is. When we met tonight, I said, Leslie, what do you want to get out of this? Hannah, what do you want? That's, I asked you guys what you wanted. So I'm building an avatar as to what your avatar, to understand what you might want from this presentation, because then I can serve that to you as we go. Is that a good illustration? Okay. Unless you got something else, let's move on. I'm dragging this out. We're going to have to move. These are our 5 primary avatars: consignment-focused, mature riders, and supporters. These are our most loyal people as well. We see them the most often on social media. We see them in the store most often. They talk about us the most. The Western recreational rider, trail riders are our biggest customer segment at the current time. Novice, intermediate English show riders, those are a big piece of our customer base, right? Show moms that I talked about, and teen riders. And these are in order. Like, these are our biggest customer base down to our least. And then I left off number 6 because it's really a small piece of it.
So does that show that, number 1 is that all horse people are trying to be, not all, but a lot of horse people are trying to be frugal because they're expensive.
Oh, what? Horses aren't expensive?
No.
Where do you live? Yeah. No, it's true, it is. But there are also some people who care less about that than others. Predominantly, everybody wants to know about, I say everybody, 80% of people want to know about consignment. There's some of them that don't care so much. We had one guy that, I don't know what that might have been before you were with us. He rolled in his Hummer and had his 2, I don't know what girls with him, and they bought everything. It was ridiculous, but that never happens, right? So that's not our normal avatar. It was pretty bizarre. They bought saddles and the whole thing. It was $4,000 worth of stuff that day.
Yeah, every once in a while we get one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that's not our primary person, so we're not going to market to those people. I'm not going to market to that guy. He's never coming in. He might come in again, but these people are coming in. I need to serve these people, and my messages need to go to them. Does that make sense? And I want you to understand, I'm not telling you I need to sell to these people. I'm telling you we need to connect to these people. Connecting is primary. Sales is what happens.
Yeah.
I have a theory. Does anybody in here know Cody Sanchez? She's an influencer and a business influencer. She said something the other day that I thought was really good, and it was, I'm going to butcher it, but I don't believe we sell things to people. I believe we find the opportunity to meet the person that needs what we have. And my perspective is we create an environment in our social media, in our store, where people want to come in and we can connect to them. And if they need or want to buy something, then a transaction happens. We're not selling to them. We're making friends and we're creating space. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just clarifying here. So when we're talking about content, which is Sarah's area of expertise, the content that we're making for our social medias and for our websites and everything like that focuses and leans more towards that number 1 and number 2. If number 5 was actually our number 1, you would see me doing a lot more viral TikTok dances.
That's a really good point.
Because that would be if that's our audience, if that's our customer, if that's who our number 1 avatar is, then we're connecting to them, But that's where they're on there, and you'll see it every once in a while. You'll see a TikTok, but that's where finding out, like you were saying, what are your 3 avatars? You're going to be promoting and creating content and advertising for those 3, So anyway.
Yeah, you waste your time creating content outside of that to maybe catch another fish somewhere. It's a waste of your time.
Not to mention that I'm pretty sure that there are several people that are in the number 1 and number 2 that would probably call me out if I started
doing TikTok dances.
Focusing on, the number 5,
It would-
as opposed to our largest
That's a good point. It does have to be authentic. If it's not you, don't do it. Which is why brand was first, because your brand, especially as solo entrepreneurs, you are your brand and your brand is you. That's it, right? And so if you do something outside of what's you, they're going to spot a fake that fast. So don't do it. Anyway, anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this. I guess, Hannah, we talked about yours. So let's think about this for a minute. Like, what would be an avatar? Who is your primary, most common customer that you serve? In as great a detail as you can. You cannot go too far with the detail. Anybody want to start? Nobody wants to start.
I've been doing this so long, so I have a ton of it.
Okay.
I started out as architectural illustration. I did a lot of architectural stuff and
Uh-huh.
real estate stuff. And then computer came in and kind of destroyed that.
Yeah.
So then I started doing the horses because I'm a horse lover, owner. And so I've kind of gone into horses and animals and then gone into portraits and then fine art with that and that. And then I thought, let's connect my architecture with the horses. So I've been promoting barns because there's not a lot of people that know the architecture like I do that I can, because a lot of people love their barns. I
Sure.
mean, there's some gorgeous, beautiful old barns.
Absolutely.
To paint. And so I think there's been a lot of, I've got a lot of feedback from people that, would love to have their barn painted, but not necessarily would paint for their horse because whatever the reason, I don't understand. I mean,
Right.
But it's just, this is my problem. I'm pulling so many directions. But anyway,
Well, so let's go into that. So you pull, and we all are if we're not careful. Who, if you had to pick somebody, who would be the most common customer that you would have?
well, the most common customer that I have now are people that want portraits of their particular horse.
Okay. And so those people, so let's keep everybody else out. So that's part of your primary avatar. Describe what most of those people are like in whatever way you can identify.
They're just generally people that not necessarily big time professional show people, just
Okay.
people that love their backyard horse.
Women or men? Women or men? Predominantly.
Oh, okay.
Predominantly women. Yeah, same for us.
And
Age range? Like what's predominant age range?
probably mid to higher.
Okay. So
I mean, they'll spend more on a larger portrait.
they typically have more disposable income, right? Yeah. So 50s and above, 40s and above?
Yeah, 40s and above.
Okay. So you're not going to spend time and energy making content for
Teenagers
on TikTok, right? That would do you no good. So okay. So that avatar is women and they're 40s and above. Are they geographically, are they typically more one place versus another?
Hit them all over the United States and Europe.
Okay. What else might they have in common that you can think of? Financial, other habits, groups that they're in?
I think just medium to high income. I mean,
Okay.
Not necessarily drenched in money, but
Sure.
their horses are their priority.
They have some extra money to spend.
Yeah.
Is what they're really, really connected to. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen barns where people buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people that buy from me have had these horses for 10, 20, 30 years.
Okay, that's a good piece of information.
Yeah. So
Okay.
It's just like people that are really connected and appreciate their horse, and they're not going to just buy and sell just for showing.
So now people who have long-term relationships with their horses because they've had them for a long time. Okay, so that's enough. So now you've gotten a more of a subset of group. So when you think about what you're going to post, I want you to put the most thought and energy into posting things that are going to fit that group. Because that's your biggest customer base. That's also the easiest place for you to earn your living from. That's your first place. If you want to think about another group, like the people that you're painting their barns, that's fine, but make sure you're serving that main avatar first. Does that make sense?
The thing is, with the portraits, they take a lot of time and they're really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if I can do a close-up of the head, it's got to be spot on.
Right.
I mean, it's all the owners are going to know. But if a horse can be like what we were talking about, somebody that's more in the background or in the pasture, there's a little bit more leeway, you know, and not driving myself nuts over teeny tiny itty bitty details.
Okay, so that's important. Were you going to say something?
No, well, and the difficult thing with fine art stuff is you do have to deal with creative burnout and doing the same thing over and over and over for years, even though it is a little different. There's a little bit of a different beast to it. Yeah.
So let me put a little different spin on it. So what I'm hearing from you is this is your primary avatar. This is your main customer, is the portraits. It's a lot more time consuming. There's much more greater detail. There's probably more headache in the interaction going back and forth. Not that you don't like these people and love these people and want to work with these people, but these other type of artwork is easier for you and less stressful. Am I understanding that correctly?
And could possibly be a lot more financial reward.
Okay.
To do a big barn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Put some horses in. And it's something, like I said, I can specialize in. We're not a lot of people that paint horses, know the architecture.
So there's a niche there then.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay.
And because I have talked, you know, done some like that for some people, they love it, you know. They're not necessarily, the ones that I've done for love their horse, but they
Right.
love the barn.
So here's what I would challenge you to do then is, because what I've been challenging you so far is narrow it down to who your primary avatars are. In your case, I think we've narrowed it down to your main one, but you've identified another one that's probably a little more lucrative, a little easier to do, probably, so there's some attraction there, right, from a business person's perspective. So you're going to want to think about, okay, so what does that avatar look like? Who are they? Are they men or women? Or what's their age range? What's their locality? Think about all those pieces, because then that's going to help you create content. Because now what I'm hearing from you is you want to grow your business in that direction. Would that be a better thing for you?
Because another thing too, with the portraits, it's like a one-time thing.
Yeah, a good point.
You know, it's like, you know, this one lady, I do one for her every 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
It's like, it's wonderful, but, you know, if I can.
You can't eat on every 5 or 6 years, can you?
So anyway, I mean, and I appreciate and love all of it, but anyway, so it's you know, and I get distracted and go in so many directions.
Well, okay, so we talked about the artist brain earlier too. I think that's a part of it. So if you can define on paper what these avatars are, so you've got something to come back to and say, I really want to grow this segment of business. Let me refine my picture of what that person looks like. I've seen companies that will have an avatar and they'll literally have an image of the person, the race, the age, the sex, the whole thing. Like they want it as detailed as possible about what this business segment is, because that's their people. And it helps them mentally connect with them and helps them understand who that person is. Because then you can start finding out, where are they? What do they do? What do they like? What do they not like? Those types of things. And one, you can know, should that really be my person? And two, you can start serving them better. And that's what you need to do. If you serve them better, you can connect with them. So if you can get an easier segment that's more lucrative, 100% you're going to do it, right? I'm doing that all day long. You don't want to abandon these other people, but you want to grow this segment. So that's how you purposely do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I could, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because otherwise, I get flighty. Like these guys know. I wake up in the morning and at 5 a.m. they got a text. It's like, look what I did. I want to do this, and they're like, right? It happened this morning. So go ahead.
One of the things you're saying is that you can start creating content to attract the person that you want in the door.
You could.
Versus, like, I guess where I feel like I'm right now is like I'm kind of taking who I get in the door at the moment.
Yep.
But I still, like, I have those people that I ultimately want in the end.
Okay.
So, I guess, so.
How do you reconcile that?
Yeah, so do I purposely start, like you said, you find that avatar, you envision that person, you make content to attract, it's the long game of you're trying to ultimately end up in the right direction, so you start now.
Yep.
Putting that content that will attract who you ultimately want.
Elizabeth, what do they call that when you have circles around a group? Venn diagram. So you're going to do, at least mentally, a Venn diagram. This is the avatar that I'm serving currently. This is the avatar I want. Where do they cross? Because where they cross, where you're already serving them, they're already your people. The section of that are the ones you want. That's who you like to work with and who are already working with you. Find out what that group is. That becomes your really, really defined avatar and can really target your time and energy and money in your content toward that group, because you're going to be happier, your business is going to be easier, they're going to want to work with you, and you're going to have a better time, right? And you don't want to go to work and have a crappy time. I did that many, many years. So does that answer your question? So fine, and I'm a visual guy. I would go down to my whiteboard in my office and I would start drawing things and arrows and whatever sort of thing. And if that works for you, great. I would a Venn diagram is the way I would do that, and I would put in one circle everything I know about that avatar, and I would put in the other circle everything I know about the one I want, and then I'd find out where they cross, and that's my new avatar. Does that make sense? And then you can start figuring out how to target them on social media with content. Where would you find data about your avatar? I would use Google search. I would do AI. I do chat GPT all day long.
You can creep on Facebook pretty far.
Creep on Facebook?
Hey, I had to
It's
do that earlier.
horrifying what they can find on Facebook. Yeah. We already talked about this. What are the avatars that are appropriate for your business? Less is more. We have a lot. Don't use our example. We have way too many, but that's because we inherited this business. I like that you have 2 or 3. The fact that you're thinking going a third worries me a little bit, but just be careful with it, because you're only one person. Okay. Yeah, I think we've beat that one to death. Does that help give you an idea? We didn't build an avatar for you, but do you have an idea what you think?
It's giving me different things to think about. It kind of opened up a few things.
Okay, good.
To work towards.
Okay. What's your strategy? Done beats perfect every time. So now I want to talk about what your strategy is, how you're going to approach this, because I talked about this. You're going to create an environment. All you're doing is creating an environment. This is what Sarah and John do all day long, is figure out how to make things. They're like, Elizabeth says, I got an event coming. This is the flavor of what it is. And she writes a blog post about what's going to happen there and a title for it and who's going to be involved. And she sends it to Sarah and John, and they're like, okay, what is this going to look like? What's it going to feel like? And then they take our brand guide and what we are and what our tone of voice is, and they figure out how to turn that into a space that people want to come into. Is that too bizarre? Does that make sense? That's probably more of artist speak than anything else, but.
What's going through my mind is when you were talking about branding earlier. And I've taken little stabs about, certain colors or this and different things like that. And I'm doing what I can, but again, that sustainability of sometimes to do like an ultimate brand, like you guys are very inundated in the Golden Horseshoe brand that you're creating, right? Like that, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And that's your job.
Yep.
And not that it's not mine, but for me, it's I'm how can I incorporate brand but not be overwhelmed where I can't make content because it takes too long to make the content?
Do it up front. It's going to hurt. It's going to take time. You're going to hate me. Do the work up front. Know the colors, know the fonts, know the tone of voice. So I have a project in ChatGPT, and my instructions are the tone that I want for Golden Horseshoe is X. Knowledgeable, fun. I gave it some specific descriptors about what it is, what our colors are, what our priorities are, what our core values are, what our mission is. And so anytime I have an interaction and we build out a project or I work on something for the store, it references that information. So I did that work up front, and it took, I don't know, how long did Kim and I work on that? Weeks?
Yeah.
Back and forth trying to build our brand guide. You don't have to do that. It's too much. But you need to understand who you are and who your brand is and describe it on paper the best you can, because you're going to need to come back to it. Fight through that not fun part up front, and frankly, you're going to find it rewarding, and then you'll have reference material. It's like trying to go to high school without ever learning how to read to start with. You can't do it. Learn how to read first, then go to high school. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Relationship building. That's it. Always lead with connection and relationship building. That's it. If you do that, everything else will come. Niche loyalty. This is something that's so interesting to me. I think you guys should count your blessings that you are in the equestrian niche. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. Equestrians there's a lot of drama, but there's also ridiculous amount of loyalty. I mean, ridiculous levels of loyalty. You find a saddle you like, or a pair of breeches you like, or boots you like, or whatever, that's probably what you're getting. Am I wrong? It is a very loyal niche. And I think that's part of why our engagement is so high. We've been loyal to the old Golden Horseshoe, even though we've kind of taken it a little bit more newer brand. But we've been loyal to how Golden Horseshoe was before and its culture. And that is paid off by our people being engaged with us. Anybody ever heard of the Pareto principle? You heard of the 80-20 rule? It's called the Pareto principle, and I can't remember Pareto's first name, but and this principle is in play throughout the entire world, basically, in every facet you can think of. 80% of your effect comes from 20% of your work, things like that, right? In this case, 80% of your content should provide value or entertain or strengthen your relationship. 20% at most is direct promotion, promoting a product, promoting a whatever, right? Most of your content, 80%, needs to bring value or emotion or connection or something. That's it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How do you balance, like, because you're trying to do the education events and different things like that. How do you balance promoting your events amongst adding value, right?
Awesome question. How do we balance, because we are promoting something. The something that we're promoting is what people are asking us for, what they're telling us they want.
So the event is creating the value.
The value's already there, and in theory, we've identified the want or the need, and we're filling that need already. And you're calling me out, which I appreciate. So yes, we are promoting, but the idea, we don't charge for these events, right? We make nothing. This costs me money every time we do one of these events, right? It costs me hours. It costs me, I have to pay these guys all the amount of time that they do the work, which is a lot of time. I don't do it to make any money. I do it because it fills a niche, and you guys tell me this is what I wanted to get. So we're building a bond together. When you guys leave here, hopefully, if we've done our job right, you guys are going to be like, dude, I get these guys, right? And they get me, and we're going to hopefully be closer together because we understand one another. Does that answer your question? So that's what you want to do. So think about, well, and that's it. And we talked about that when you first got here, right? That's it. That's why we do it, because it's our duty to do it. We have the equestrian community has served Golden Horseshoe for 40 plus years. We have to get back, and this is how we do it. So
because as a horse community, if they go to events or listen, do your events, if I say, oh, I need a new saddle, first thing I do is think of you guys.
Top of mind.
As opposed to other places. I mean, if you build a relationship and shown me positive,
sure,
and done your wonderful stuff and appreciate it.
Well, that's how you keep customers repeat, right? You built a relationship with them and built the trust. Did that answer your question? Did it help you figure out where we're crossing the line or not? Yeah. Okay. And call me out if you're.
No, that was because that's one of the things that I want to do. Because, like, yes, I think most of my content these days is about kind of sharing what we're doing and trying to share, the good that we're trying to bring into the horse world, right?
Okay.
But then I think where I'm struggling is, like, I do have events that I'm trying to put on, but trying to get the engagement for the events. And so that was you're kind of doing the both. So
yep.
I'm trying to see that.
Well, think about what the value to the community is for your events. And before you offer an event, you're not going to offer an event just because you want to cash a check, right? You're going to offer an event because people want it. Otherwise, you're not going to cash the check, right? One's a cart and one's a horse. That's really it. So think about what the value of your event is to the equestrian community, to your avatar, right? And whatever that value is, that's what you're marketing, because frankly, that's what's going to bring them in. If you try to say, I'm going to make you the best equestrian ever, they're going to be like, yeah, that's what everybody says. But if you're going to say, I'm going to help you connect with your horse in a way that's going to build a relationship with you that you can do X or whatever, those are two vastly different conversations you have. One is a value proposition and one's a me selling myself. Does that clear it up a little? Okay. All right. But yeah, think about that. I would tell you at the current time, we're a little out of whack, probably a lot out of whack on our balance. But we post so much that it's not as big a deal necessarily. So, okay, next. Authenticity. You want to talk about authenticity?
Be authentic. If you're fake, people know it.
Yeah, they do. What about the algorithm?
You're
all about that.
Know the content, like, you wouldn't think authenticity has as big of an impact as it does, but especially in the horse world where loyalty is such a big thing, if you're not being authentic and true to yourself as well as your brand, it will show in your content. You might not think it will, but it will, and people that follow you will notice.
Well, what's funny is in the last year I've been playing around with like AI, so like ChatGPT helping kind of
Mhm.
content. But, and again, I've been playing back and forth because ChatGPT doesn't necessarily sound like me, and it's still
Yep.
building, right? And I've had feedback from like close friends that follow, right? And they're like, yeah, I can tell when it's not you.
They know. Yeah.
And so with that feedback, kind of blending more, making sure I'm bringing it back to more me than AI or whatever.
Well, and it comes down to specifying what you want your brand to sound like. So you can still utilize things like AI, but just being more specific in how you drive it. So instead of AI driving the car, you're driving the AI car.
Yeah, there's tools that you can use to make it better at that. It's not a conversation for tonight, but there are ways you can make it better at that, to learn what your voice sounds like, and it'll produce better results as a result of that. We're still learning. Like as a society, we're learning, and businesses, we're learning how to use that. But on the algorithm, to me, Big Brother knows best. It used to be in years past, we used to do these things like we wanted to get all these followers, or we were about hashtags, or about this and about whatever, which we still do those things.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithm knows what you guys like and what you don't like. It knows what we like and what we don't like. I bet you, Hannah, what social media are you primarily engaged on? Facebook. I'll guarantee you Facebook knows as much or more about your life than the people that are friends with you. If you post much at all, it knows. There's a special I can't remember the name of on Netflix that will horrify you with how they know what you're thinking. Trust the algorithm to make the decisions. Just be authentic, and it will connect you with the people you need to be connected with.
So, am I over-tagging my posts? Is that a thing? Because I can have just a wall of tags.
Hashtags? Sarah, that's you.
In my opinion, it kind of comes down to what your avatar and or target market is.
Ooh, good one.
If your avatar is like kind of people like, okay, if your avatar is like someone like me who's like your 30s, so they're born in the late 80s, 90s. During the rise of technology, they've kind of gone through the evolution of technology. A lot of times they will still use hashtags. They will still search through hashtags. And if it's a younger generation, nope, they don't use those at all.
Okay, I'm technically part of the younger generation. Hashtags, so how do people search for things?
Honestly, a lot of times, it kind of comes like, honestly,
You're gonna find something without a hashtag.
Yeah, hashtags now are more used for organization than finding like new content, which doesn't really make sense in my opinion, because I like hashtags. I like organization. I like to be able to search and be like, okay, if I click on this hashtag for horses, I'm just going to get horse stuff. Yes.
Am I correct in saying that Instagram relies more heavy on hashtags than Facebook?
I
Yes.
feel like I can go, if I want to use a hashtag to find something, I go to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, I'm like,
It's the Wild West.
It's like they don't understand. Yeah, no, I get it.
For me, it's a lot
Mhm.
harder to find what I'm looking for on Facebook
Mm-hmm.
than Instagram, because like I have my vaulting, groups on Facebook, or not Facebook, but Instagram, that I'll like go and like watch
Mhm.
all their content and stuff.
Yeah.
Facebook, it's just like you're either following it or not. It's like you watch one video about a cat fishing or something like that, and then you get 50 more about cat fishing.
Mhm.
Like it's almost random.
It's not a problem. You want all the catfishing videos you can get? Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing, is like Facebook is a lot less, it's more about the behind the scenes algorithm of like what they think you want to see.
Yeah, you're kind of at the mercy of the algorithms, unfortunately, on the social media platforms that you use, which is unfortunately dictated by your avatars. So, yeah.
I think that's interesting, the take we have on that, because I feel completely the opposite of what you just said. Because to me, especially as a marketer, it makes it easier, because it's both harder and easier. If your posts have the context that somebody is looking for, the algorithm is going to make the connection. If we say, what's the most recent event, or what do you have an event that's coming up?
I have Master Archery Clinic.
Okay, it couldn't get any more niche, right? Okay, so if your posts are about mounted archery, yeah, I think it's great. And if you have a series of posts about your event and different aspects of mounted archery, whatever it might be, I don't know, because I'm not even a horseman, so I'm the barn dad. I'm upfront about that. if you have posts that are contextually accurate about your event and what they're going to see or learn or do, the algorithm is going to know Hannah is dying to shoot an arrow off the back of a horse, and it's going to be like, so you have the, and I love that. I love it because I know if I'm Hannah and I'm like, all I do is I search for videos about people shooting arrows off of horses, so then your stuff's going to come up, and I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't know she was doing this event. It's down the street. Well, yes and no. They're also, the algorithm also knows where they are, right?
True, it does.
And you're going to put a location in your post about where this event is, so it's going to know where those things are.
So the algorithm reads the text in your post.
Mhm.
The algorithm reads
Well,
everything.
it'll still read, it'll still read the hashtags, but it kind of puts it like priority is the text. So
The algorithm will read how long you linger on a post before you scroll. It knows to the millisecond how long you've slowed down and looked at something, and it will then serve you.
Yeah, that's why I'm careful about like slowing down.
Yeah, don't, if there's something bad, you better swipe like crazy. Yeah, but that's the gist of it. Is I think the things of the past, hashtags were never my thing, and they still aren't. I don't know why.
Organization, though.
I get it.
Yeah.
I think it's easier. I was always a long tail keywords search type of person. Now when I'm doing searches, I'm just using full sentences, which now with AI coming in, like it's my world of search, right? Because I can put a full paragraph about what I want, and it can interpret that. So anyway, we talked about it. 347. Oh, there is. I was right. Okay, you don't need all of them. You just need the customers that you need. That's it, right? Cool. Sorry, we beat that one to death too. Next. Oh, this is one of my favorites. So we're going to do 3 for each because we have a long post. So tell me one kind of post that you can think of that you could do to fit one of those 2 avatars that we talked about earlier. And I'm going to come back to you, so think about it. So Hannah, think about your avatars. What is one kind of post that you think would make sense? And same, right?
That I'm not already doing.
No, it doesn't matter. If you're already doing it, that's awesome. That's a feather in your cap. And whoever wants to go first, tell us about what that would be.
Well, one of the thoughts earlier is like right now my content has a lot about like because I do riding lessons, I do golfing lessons, and then I do horsemanship with part of my lesson package. And so I'm posting content about people having fun in their lessons. Right?
Good,
doing
awesome.
Things and things like that. But one of the things thinking about my avatar about like who I'm attracting in is I like the older adults that, are late to the game, if you will, but they're super sponges and they want to learn, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of them, they care deeply about horses. They're kind of that person that keeps that horse for a long time, right? They want to be engaged and be good to that horse, which is great. So like something that I think I might be able to add more content about is the care side. Not that I'm not showing things, but I'm showing activities, but like maybe I need to do things about like them grooming the horses or feeding treats or whatever the things that show that.
What would that look like? Go into detail. What would it be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a photo? Is it going to be a video? Is it going to be text? Is it going to be, tell me what you think.
I saw a picture of like them brushing a horse with a soft brush.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's what you visualized?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Who's next? Nobody? What would you post? What do you think?
Well, and I don't know how feasible this is. I want to gear more posts towards industry professionals.
Okay.
And that kind of blends in with the adult animes, and I already have most of my posts geared towards the adult animes.
And what does that look like?
The current ones I'm doing, it's a lot of client shout outs. So if somebody PRs or just has better form on a lift, then a video post, do a short explanation, short shout out of, hey, this person has been working on this exercise for however long. Just had a breakthrough.
Smart.
And then sometimes, if I have the time, I'll go into more detail on the hows and whys of the movement, why this movement is good for multiple different types of riding, whatever it is you're experiencing.
Okay.
But I really think it would be useful if I had videos of a rider on on the horse,
Mm-hmm.
either side by side or before, after, just combined with a movement, correlating movement on the ground. So for example, for a hunter jumper, because I'm a hunter jumper, I have a lot of hunter jumpers. For a hunter jumper, show a video of iffy form going over a fence, whether it be rounded shoulders or lower leg swinging, and then show a video of barbell good ones. That's a great one. Or a certain yoga ball movement, and then have a breakdown explanation
Mm-hmm.
why that exercise is good, and then the viewers can see the benefit right after that with the rider on the horse, instead of just doing this is this exercise and this is why it's good, and then they don't see the horse at all. But that's just a lot of work.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but that seems like almost the best of both worlds, because we love befores and afters. We just do. We respond to befores and afters. Those split screen befores and afters are great. And if you're going to have an explainer video in the middle of it, which is basically what you're saying, you're sort of getting, they can see, I would probably do the before and the after up front, and then I'd probably do the explainer, and then I'd probably sandwich it with the same before and after at the end. Is that?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of play, and I think it's probably worth the effort to do that.
Oh yeah, because I mean, the people are coming to me for the love of the horse, not for the love of the gym, but for the love of the horse. And they develop a love of the gym, but they come in for the horse, and I just can't quite figure out how to get those horsey videos going.
Videos are a lot of work. I've tried. It's on my back. Be a shelf of things that I want to do with more educational content and fitness videos and stuff as well. But what's interesting is like the kind of video you just described. I've been watching those like on social media. It's the small fixes where it's just like a little clip of, hey, this is what you do and this is why, and and it creates visuals. That's one of the things that I like about there's a couple people I'm following where they create visuals, and I can send it to my students and say, hey, you're working on this. This is a great visual for you.
Yep.
And kind of just share that content with them.
Well, we're visual learners overall, so yeah, I think that makes sense.
There's one guy in Kentucky who works with primarily national and international 3-day event riders, and that's a lot of the type of video that he does.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's seen great engagement. He and I have talked a little bit about. He helped me kickstart my business. But yeah, that's what he does. So he's some pretty good engagement with it. But he also has a whole team.
Well, I was going to say, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh no. Well, like sometimes when you have those like impossible like things that you really, really want to do, but you don't have the time, you just don't have the bandwidth to fit that in because you're doing so much because you're running a business. That's already a lot. Sometimes like trying to slowly do like one post that's oriented towards that, see how much, if engagement wise you get, or seeing if you can slowly add some of it to your bandwidth over the course of like a couple months, instead of just hit the ground running. I'm going to do this every week. Like I've got this. Yeah. Yes.
Elizabeth?
I was going to say, break it down even easier.
Yep.
What you said is the ideal, right? Like that is the, like, oh, perfect video, perfect post, right? You know, because I am an adult nanny, you know the adult nannies have pictures of themselves at their competitions. And so I am quite certain that you can go Facebook stalk and find a picture of Susie Q jumping over a fence from 2016, and oh good lord, that looks awful. But hey, guess what? Susie Q is my client, and she just went and rocked it at this last competition. Look at this amazing photo of her going over a fence. You can before and after your own clients as long as they give permission. And then, it's not, yes, somewhere down the road, it'd be great if you had the video of the exercise that was used for that. But like Sarah said, you're running a business and you don't have time.
Yeah.
The before and after that would bring people in being like, oh, here's Susie Q before Echo Athlete, and here's Susie Q now. And you get the horse, because the algorithm's gonna know there's a horse in the photo.
Mhm.
If you don't say horse, it's gonna know that there's a horse in the photo. And they're gonna see, like, before and after, look at progress. But that way, you're utilizing, you don't have to pull out the camera, you don't have to go, you're pulling from content that's already there.
And that, ladies, is two things. That's leverage, because she's leveraging some other content from somewhere else without them making it. And it's done is better than perfect, because you outlined this would be perfect, and Elizabeth outlined this can get done.
And it strengthens because you're now all of Susie's friends.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah.
People that ride with Susie, people at Susie's barn, like you've also, it's not just some random person out there. It's like, if I see that Sarah's done something super amazing, then I'm gonna ask her about it. I'm gonna be like, hey, I saw that post that you were tagged in. What was that about? So you've got that again with the whole strengthening relationships here, and everybody likes to see like kudos posts about them on Facebook.
Yeah.
I had a question.
Just a thought, because like, again, the perfect ideal is you can make your own content, right? But what about reposting other people's content that's already made that is relevant to your audience?
I'm dying to hear your answer to this.
I don't really have an answer because I haven't really done too much of it, at least for a golden.
Because you're a perfectionist, and you're, yeah.
But at the same time, it's public on Facebook. Like if that exercise is something my students are struggling with, or again ties in, can you like repost and write something about it and say, I really like this video because, and
I'm a data guy. I love to be able to back up what I'm saying with data, and I don't have it, so this is going to be just personal opinion. When you need content, and if it's not going to come across, if it's going to align with your values, again, this is why you did the values exercise. If it's going to align with your values, you're not blatantly stealing with somebody, and you're not sending your business to a competitor, I would do it for the short term. I would not do it as a standard course of action. I would do it here and there sporadically. And then at the same time, I'm doing what Elizabeth said. I'm chunking it down to something smaller to get something that's usable until I can make perfect, right? Does that make sense? So carefully, if it's appropriate, would be my answer to it. And then as quick as you can cut it off, stop doing it. Like I love Mara at Tack Trunk. I'm never posting, sharing their content, ever. Like I can't do it. We send them customers, and sometimes they send us customers. I'm still never posting their content. I'm not posting Chick Saddlery or Teskies or any of that. I'm not doing it. Now, we also have the benefit that we now have a pretty large organization to do things, but I wouldn't have done it when it was just me building the website and doing the social media, which it once was. So
you could get permission, or at least give that other person.
You could, but you don't necessarily. If you're going to share it and it's got their name on it and they're seeing what, if you just go and copy their text and their photo and you plug it in, but that's not what you're talking about, right?
No, I'm talking about sharing the cat fishing video. Saying, this is really cool. I think that cat is brilliant, type of thing. Versus,
But you're sharing their post, not their content.
Correct.
So it's got their name and they're sort of getting a byline, I guess.
If anything,
Yeah.
go viral.
Yeah.
And go viral.
That's a great question, though. That's good, because you never want to do it the other way.
But it's also good if you're trying to build relationships with other companies, other professionals in the field, things like that. So that's like, there are benefits, but there's also yet to just
like cross promoting. That's something I've heard over the years of like, you
Elizabeth, you can switch.
Brand and that their people see your brand, like, and you kind of.
Those are strategic moves that I would say do. I would be looking at, like I would tell you for Hannah, I'm just going to call out Hannah specifically. I would 100%, I would like to, and have never approached you for this, I would like to do some cross posting because I value what you do. And I think it would bring value to our customers, and it would also bring you business, and it would also connect us to your customers, which will probably overlapped anyway. But I think to me, that's a strategic move if you're going to do that sort of thing. If there are trainers or barns or whatever that I think makes sense, then that's a strategy move that you could do on an ongoing basis, but you're going to have sat down with that person and had conversations, right? We talked about Vivian and St. Louis area equestrians. I've met with Vivian several times about her group and what we can do to help her and vice versa. And so we have a strategic relationship with that regard. Two different conversations. I 100% would pursue those because they can grow through you and you can grow through them. I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking, but I got on my soapbox apparently. So, okay, we are really behind, so I'm going to hustle, but you slow me down as well because there's stuff I want to get to. So, to the next one. These are great conversations, by the way, I think. Platform selection, so many choices. How many platforms are you guys posting on now? Like, where are you posting at right now?
My website and Facebook.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Okay. Hannah, how about you?
Facebook and Instagram. I had a little.
Okay.
At the very start, when we did our
Yep.
fitness challenge, and Facebook felt much more natural to me, so I just focused on that.
Okay. Smart move, by the way. How many channels are you working on?
Facebook is my primary. I do Instagram simultaneous, but I don't really care about Instagram. It's one of those things. I find Instagram usually doesn't get me locals.
Yeah,
Are they not
I
your
would agree.
avatar?
I have like almost 600 followers on Facebook, and I have like 200 and something on Instagram. And it's just like I'm putting my energy into Facebook because I feel like that's the informational.
So don't, and I don't know that you are, but don't beat yourself up over that. Here's what I would tell you first, and this is always the thing we want to do. Pick a platform, go deep before you go somewhere else, right? Because they all have a little bit of a different flavor, and it's a big challenge moving to a new platform. If you each said, I have one platform and that's what I'm doing, fine. And you all identified Facebook, and I love it. Why would I identify Facebook as the one you should be doing? Because that's where the people who have money are.
That's interesting because so many people. Again, I've been in different businesses where like they're like, we got to do this or that, but so many people are like, Facebook is dead, and it's just like, no, it's not.
They have no idea what they're talking
Kids
about.
might be watching TikTok, but the adults are on Facebook.
Okay, so let me break this down for you. And these logos, I don't know what's happening here. So Instagram, this is the primary. This is not everything, but this is primary. Primary demographic is 18 to 34. Slightly female, gender-based. Visual storytelling, lifestyle, shopping inspiration. That's what it's about. Their average yearly retail spend is $67,000. Okay, kind of important number to know, right? YouTube, which I don't know if it still is. At one time, for many, many years, YouTube was the biggest search engine ever, bigger than Google, if you didn't know that. The age range is 18 to 49 is the strongest, but it covers everything. Everybody uses YouTube. It's an even split between genders. Why is this important? Are most of your customers women or men? Ours are 96% or more women, probably more. Used primarily for education, tutorials, entertainment, long-form video. Depending on the content you're putting out, you may need to be on YouTube, right? If you're doing educational content, it better be on YouTube. Not now. Don't add on another platform right now. Focus, okay? The average retail spend is $88,500 a year, okay? Facebook, age range 30 to 65 plus, evenly split in gender. Community groups are primarily where they're at, which is where they connect. Events, where they connect. Local business directory, exactly where you want to be, right? It's serving, they're doing what you want them to do on Facebook. Average retail spend is $88,000. What's the difference between $88,000 and $67,000? That's a pretty significant percentage of retail spend every year, right? The people that are telling us that, because I've been told that many times, you're an idiot for going with Facebook, it's where the money is. Well, that's also where the money is, but that's where the money is. We talked about this with art, right? That primary avatar you have, they typically have more extra income to spend the older you get. When I was 18, when I was 30, I had no money. None. Well, I don't have much money now either, but I have way more disposable income now than I did when I was 18, right? So if I'd used Instagram, you don't want to talk to me. I was broke, right? TikTok, average age 16 to 24 by dominant, is growing into its 30s. So this is an interesting one. I really didn't think this was going to happen. I thought Instagram would age in faster, but it hasn't. Balanced gender, trending younger female, which is, you notice our avatar number 5 was the female, the younger female. This is not our people. Short form video, which is somewhat difficult to do. Average retail spend is $53,000. That's the lowest average retail spend of the social networks. I didn't even go into the others because these are the primary things that you want to be focusing on. Does that help answer that question a little bit? This is information you need to know. Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
For Instagram, I've heard of this, and I don't think it's a new thing anymore, but it's new to me, called Threads.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Facebook is pushing that hard too, aren't they?
Well,
I guess because it's the same thing.
It is Facebook. So
Yeah.
Threads is Facebook's competition for Twitter, or X now.
Good luck with that.
So it's mostly text-based. You can technically do images, and they say it's growing by leaps and bounds. I don't know. I initially made an account, and then I never went back.
Mark Zuckerberg's a liar, so I don't believe anything he says, but
But-
you didn't hear that here.
Everything equestrian is very
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I think that, I'm not on Twitter nowadays, but I feel like they wanna see the pretty horse.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do.
You wanna see a thing, it's not,
I want to read about it. I want to watch it.
I do not need a picture of, we'll go with Putin. I don't need a picture of Putin to accompany the text of whatever it is that he has said, but if I'm gonna talk about something with horses, I wanna see the big horse. So I feel like
Yeah.
horse equestrian doesn't go well with text, because you wanna see it. It's something you see.
I'll tell you, our platform choices are prioritized the same as yours. Facebook was absolutely the number one. It always was in real estate as well, because the people that had the money to buy houses were on Facebook. Instagram's probably second, and TikTok has barely scratched the
I'm
surface.
working on it.
I know you're working on it. Well, but our video focus has really been, is how old? 3 months? 4 months?
3 months, yeah.
So it's pretty new for us. It's in its infancy for us. So does this help give you an idea why you would want to choose one platform or the other? Go deep on the one you go on. And if you never go to another platform, that's okay. You probably don't have to.
Well, that's kind of why it's like I gave up, I didn't give up, but with Instagram, they're more about, I think, the daily posts, and I'm like, that wasn't sustainable for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Facebook made sense, so it's just like, that's why I prioritize that as.
Yeah.
That's super smart. That's
Yeah.
what you should do. If you can't keep up with it, you can't have consistency. Just don't do it. You can add it later. And that's what I would tell you is go deep, and when you're ready and you've got the bandwidth or the leverage or the whatever, then go somewhere else. Okay. Where do your avatars hang out? This is where you circle back. This is why you want to know who your avatars are. Where are they? Your avatars are 100% on Facebook. That's the age range. That's the financial dynamic. That's the visual piece of it. Yeah, you got no reason to go anywhere else but Facebook, in my opinion. You're right. Strengths and weaknesses for your brand identity and goals. Some platforms will help you communicate your brand identity better than others. Sarah has done an amazing job of translating our brand into a visual, into visual elements. And what they've done, like this is our Instagram feed that's popping up over here, so you can see kind of what she and John do. They're visually very appealing posts, and so that's allowed us to lean more visually than we would have, because it's a little bit of a boring brand from a color perspective, right? So it depends on what you can do with it, but it goes back to what Elizabeth said. We want to see the pretty horses. That's what it boils down to. Don't overcommit. We've talked about that. I don't have to tell you. You guys already get it. Thank goodness. This is one of the smartest things you guys have said. Your personal preference shouldn't always drive strategy. Get over yourself. This was one of the hardest. I'm as self-centered as they come. Shocker, right? Get over it. What we like and what we want doesn't make a lot of difference compared to what your customers want. I may say, those are the ugliest shorts I've ever seen, and all my customers like them, and I'm going to zip my lip, and I'm going to help my customers get what they want. So that's what I was getting at for that one, right? Cool. Content, the what, how, and when. Do you want to go over this?
Yeah, so honestly, text is kind of slowly dying out. Like, yes, still use it when in the description portion, but in the photo element, don't use a ton of text. You can use maybe 1 or 2 bullet points in your text, but you don't need a whole wall of text. It's a picture. Save your text for the actual description part of the post. Unfortunately, videos, aka the thing that takes the longest to make and shoot and develop, is probably growing the fastest. It gets the most views, content, like you can reuse it in multiple different ways, but it requires probably the most knowledge in my opinion, and it takes the most time to actually sit down and do. Photos, great.
Has the most value though, I think.
It does, and it's definitely, you get your money's worth, but you have to put in the effort, unfortunately. Photos, like they're kind of your classic thing that keeps your content going. It's an easy way to make your content more consistent, and then sprinkle in videos and things like that. It makes your, like if you're wanting to do more posts, like overall, just doing more photos, simple posts is better than doing super complicated, over-engineered posts, because then that takes up so much bandwidth and there's only so many hours in the day. And then polls and contests are a great way, at least for us, to get direct feedback from our customers, because sometimes we know what they want, or sometimes we think we know what they want. And sometimes we're like, yeah, this is exactly what you want. It's like, no, I wanted like a trail saddle with like a super big horn that had like a rough out. And I'm like, okay, that's not at all what I pictured. So sometimes having direct feedback with your customers is a good way of getting a better idea of what your clients actually want.
On a consistent basis, the posts of ours that get consistently the most reactions are a monthly photo contest where we have people submit photos of them and or their horses, and that becomes our Facebook cover for the month. They always rank top, always. We've got some that are higher, but predominantly that contest that's once a month brings in the most. So
It's so engaging.
it's very engaging.
Very personal to them.
Yeah.
They want to show off.
Yep.
Not show off what they feel.
Yeah.
And they're friends, and what Elizabeth said, they're friends. So if you post your horse, all your friends are going to be like, oh, you have to vote for a horse. Leslie's horse is the best, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it gets, the engagement is insane.
People like to share photos of their horse. Who doesn't like to see them?
Yep.
So, yeah. And then, like, so your content, like can be broken down kind of more specifically into, like, different types. Honestly, carousels, which are like the posts where you can kind of have a picture and you can swipe and you can see multiple photos, that does get more engagement because the algorithm sees, oh, you're swiping on that post, you're engaging with that post, you're spending more time, your eyeballs are on the post. So it is a good way to interact and get more, not necessarily engagement, but for the algorithm to start sending more of your posts to people that maybe looked at a carousel once. Stories and reels. Honestly, stories and reels are really great if you can keep up with 24, like once a day type posts, just because they do last for such a short period of time. The benefits is that the algorithms really boost the reels and stories because they're up there and only available for such a short time. So if you have something that you really need to get out there and want to get to a lot of people, it is a great way to do that. But if you're looking for something that is a little more sustainable, it's a little bit harder to do with stories and reels because they are not a permanent part of your social media.
Time out. You had a scowl going on. What's happening?
Just clarifying here. So like the stories and reels, I'm going to talk about Facebook. The story is like the 24-hour thing that you post something and you can watch you can put the reel on your story, right? And that will go away. But the reel itself stays on your page longer because like when I'll see it, like I'll post in both spots and the one will be here and it only gets a few views, but then the reel actually gets shared a little bit more. More people see it.
And I think that terminology is used interchangeably on other platforms as well, because now everybody's doing it. Do you guys know why they push that in the algorithm? Because it's frequently updated and it gets eyeballs. That's all the algorithms care about is eyeballs on their platform. And so if they can force us to post that quick, short, dopamine hit kind of stuff, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And then like reposts, like, again, there's pros and cons to reposting. You just kind of be careful about what you're reposting, that it aligns with your brand and everything, but they can be a great benefit. And then was it links and blog style? So links and social media do not like each other. So unfortunately, a lot of social media platforms, if you post links from outside their social media platform, they tend to suppress it just a lot. So a lot of times when we will post stuff on Facebook, be like, hey, look at this awesome event we have, and it's a link to outside Facebook. Facebook is like, I'm gonna post that out to like this many people. But if we post like, here's the Facebook event, here's the Facebook posts about the event, and it's all Facebook related, Facebook goes, oh, we'll send more people now.
Now I have a question on that one. So I have my archery event going on, and I have an event for it. And in the event, there's a link to sign up for said event. It's on Facebook. Is that going to suppress? Like, is it going to do the same thing with a link to sign up within the event?
If it's on the event, no. It's just in like the posts itself. So if you're linking to the event page on Facebook, then it doesn't. And if that Facebook event has external links, like in its information for like registration, things like that, Facebook doesn't, because currently Facebook really doesn't have a way to do like ticketed events to like a lot of the quantities that people are looking for.
I'm surprised they don't do that yet. Yeah.
I could see it coming, but they're not there yet.
Thought it would have been.
They're in the work process probably.
Any questions about any of that? Okay. Anatomy of a great post. You want to hit this one? Give me the other side. This is your area, not mine.
No. So something, again, text, not as big of a thing as it used to be. We still use a fair amount of text in our posts. Honestly, you guys probably will too, because that's kind of where you describe things, but a lot of it comes in like getting that hook at the beginning, something catchy, something that fits your brand. So like if you have more of like a fun, playful style that you want your brand to be, something kind of lighthearted, fun, friendly, you want it to fit your brand. Let's see. Yeah, make sure to use like a strong photo or video, some kind of something to grab their attention. Because if it's just text, just a wall of text, most people just scroll past that. Unfortunately, our brains like colors, our eyeballs like colors, and our eyeballs like horses. And so if it's a picture, if it's or a video or something moving, our brains automatically are drawn to that. So including that in a post automatically makes it more just appealing to people. And then also you want to make sure to include your call to action, because if you don't include that, then people aren't going to know what necessarily to do. So if you have like an education event, you need people to register, then you want to make sure to include, make sure to register here, make sure to go here to get more information, go here to like purchase this product, because otherwise it's just